But so that was like a 4-day boat ride, and then we got off of that boat ride and walked up and took a bus down to Paraguay. There's this town that I stay at. Actually, I went directly into the capital city of Paraguay. I can't remember what it's called, but it's right on the edge of a river, and I think on the other side of the river would have been Argentina. But it was, I think it was like one of the smallest capital cities I've ever seen. It wasn't very big, and it looked totally deserted. Oh, out of time. Oh. Okay, yeah, it looked totally deserted to me. I think it was a Sunday that I was there, but there were like no cars at all. No cars anywhere. And it wasn't a big city either. It wasn't like Brazil where they go on forever. This was a compact city. See, in South America, most of the cities are compact. You go into it, and in Europe, you go into it, there's a city, and then you leave. But in Brazil, it's just, they're huge. They're like as big as Denver. They're all as big as Denver. Just not as, but they're not as jam-packed with like buildings. You'd have like a building and then a grass field, and then a building and then a grass field and then a building. That's how the Brazilians do it. But anyways, I stayed there like a day or two. They had a big, old colonial type building there. And I was talking to some Paraguayan guys. They were nice. And they were saying something about how they had this dictator in the 80s who has like a bad reputation because he like stole a bunch of money or killed a bunch of people. I can't remember what happened, but they had this economic crisis. But they were saying how he was a great guy and they loved him. So anyways, so I kind of hung out around there, but it looked deserted. It looked like everybody had left Paraguay. Anyways, then I took the bus across, and the whole country was basically, it wasn't jungle like in Brazil. It was just flat. It was kind of like Argentina, only more trees and greener than the southern part. So I went back down to some town. I think that was the one that was officially still in Paraguay. That was a weird town. It was small, and it was actually connected to the Brazilian one, which was a lot bigger, but I decided to stay on the Paraguay side because they spoke Spanish, and I was just kind of sick of having that communication barrier. And I got a hotel, and I went into this, it was like all these Chinese people. It was like the Chinese had taken over this town. And I went into this pedestrian mall area, and it was all Chinese, and it looked like it was only for the Chinese. Because I went into I saw a bowling place in the bottom, all these Chinese people playing, and then I tried to go into a Chinese restaurant that was totally empty. There was nobody in there, and it was open. But I go in, and the lady goes, no, we close. So maybe they didn't want to serve me because I wasn't Chinese. I don't know. But so then I went into Brazil. I had to get stamped into Brazil and took the bus up to check out Falls do Iquazu. These big waterfalls that are actually right on the border. Like the other side of the falls was Argentina, and I think maybe they're like the border of Paraguay is right there too. It's kind of like parts of it are in 3 countries or something like that. But it was cool. They had all of these wooden platform decks going out around that would take you way under the water, so the mist is flying by you, and I think it was even terraced. There'd be one part where it all come together and then fall down. It was like Niagara Falls, maybe even bigger though. But it was really pretty. Anyways, then I just set my hammock down. I didn't want to carry it anymore. I figured somebody would pick it up. I probably shouldn't have done that though, because I went to Chile right after that, and I would have been able to just hang on to it there. But it was a pretty big hammock. But yeah, so then I took the bus back into Buenos Aires and called up the institute that owed me money for 2 months of work, and I was like, yeah, I just did my 2 months trip. I think that was like 2 months that I had been traveling for. I was like, yeah, I've been gone for 2 months. Now you owe me money for like 4 months. You're going to be able to pay me? And they're like, oh yeah, not yet, call back in a couple days. So I call them back in a couple days. Oh, not yet, call back in a couple days. I ended up hanging out there 3 weeks. My Argentinian girlfriend was there again. She'd been in America dancing, like teaching tango, but she was back. And I stayed in the original hotel I was in. But I like got kicked out or something. The lady totally freaked out on me, screaming and yelling at me because I was there. Like she caught me there at 4 in the morning with my girlfriend, and she was trying to tell me that she wasn't allowed there. But I should have just asked to talk to the owner, because he brought me there in the first place, found me out in the street, and that was like the one thing that he said when he first saw me. He was like, "Yeah, you bring girls back." But this guy was. They charged me like $30 to store my big backpack with all my stuff there while I was gone. And when I came back, it wasn't in the basement. This huge basement that was totally empty. This guy, who was gay, had taken my backpack to his place. And when I opened up the backpack, I didn't open up the backpack though until after I got to Chile, but when I opened up, he had stolen my books. He stole a pair of my pants. Yeah, those people weren't so nice. My French buddy stayed with me like a couple nights, and they even made him pay like $8 a night just to stay with me. But I guess they had a lot of like weird people going through there. One guy was staying there a couple days, and he smashed a window for no reason, and then disappeared. But there was another lady who was staying there. Like, I was there for 2 months, and right next to me was this guy who, and there's these tiny little rooms. They're smaller than this room, a lot smaller than this room, maybe half the size of this room. And that's all you have is a room, and you all share a bathroom. I was up on the roof, so when I opened up my door, there was the sky, so it was cool. But and I could get high too, because I climbed up on the top of a roof next door, and it was like smoking outside. That was fun. But anyways, yeah, this guy, he was like 45 years old. And he even had Thanksgiving with this whole family. I guess they didn't have houses either, and they'd all made this big meal right there in front of my room. But next to him lived this old lady who claimed to be part Indian, but she had like blonde hair. Maybe it was dyed. But yeah, this guy had one night. He had a party with his friends. And I guess the lady didn't like that, so she complained that he made too much noise. So the hotel owners came to me and said, "Was he making noise?" And I was like, "Oh, the other party? Oh yeah, I remember that party. I heard some stuff." And so then I guess they told him that I had complained that he had partied. So ever since after that, he like hated my guts. He'd like given me the evil eye. And this lady was kind of weird too. I mentioned to them that I was a Thai masseur, and she wanted me to give her a Thai massage. So I was like, "Oh, cool, yeah, tomorrow." But I guess tomorrow in Spanish means never, and it actually does. Well, actually, it either means never or it means like in 50 years. Because I was an English teacher in Chile, and one of our conversation questions was, "What are you going to do tomorrow?" And they go, "Tomorrow as in tomorrow, or tomorrow as in the rest of my life tomorrow?" That's how they procrastinate. But anyways, so she's like, "What? You're going to give me one? You're never going to give me a massage? You?" And so she freaked out, ran in my room, and started screaming and yelling at me, telling me I'm a bad person. I think she started like hitting me. And then she like bursts into tears and like grabs her crotch, and she's like, "Nobody wants none of this. Nobody wants none of this." I was like, "I'm sorry." but yeah. Anyway, so I was there in the hotel room, and so this lady like kicked me out, or I left, because and we got another hotel room, and I was there for like 3 weeks, and that was fun, just hanging out with her. Oh, and she got me this huge, from one of her friends, this huge bag of weed. So I was stoned off my ass the whole time. But anyways, yeah, I kept calling him, and then finally, they gave me a check after 3 weeks of being there. But I didn't look at it until I got home, and then I looked at it, and they had post-dated it for 2 months after that. And when they gave me the check, they didn't even know how much they owed me. I had to tell them. And there was a whole different team of people working there. So they said the original lady who hired me was on vacation, so I don't know what was going on. But so I ended up giving the check to my girlfriend. She was going to cash it when the time came and then send me the money. But when she did that, it wasn't, ooh, I'm out of time.